Most people are trapped in the same cycle. They want to change their life, but they lack the discipline to follow through with it. They watch all the motivational videos and it gets them fired up, but when it comes to doing the work and the discipline, that's where they fall short, which leaves their goals unrealized and their confidence shook. A lot of people despise the lives that they're living, and a lot of it has to do with the lack of discipline to do something different. The average person already knows what to do to change their life. They don't need to read more books or watch more videos on how to do it. If you were to ask them why they haven't done anything different, 99% of the times the answer is that they lack discipline to do it. The path of comfort is way too enticing for them. But what many people don't realize, that they eventually do end up realizing, but at that point it's too late, is that constant comfort leads to inevitable regret in the future. The problem is that you can literally tell someone all the benefits of changing their life, changing their habits, changing their diet, but they'll still lack the discipline to follow through with it or to do anything about it. The purposeless man knows the benefits of pursuing meaningful goals. The overweight person knows the benefits of being skinnier. The alcoholic knows the benefits of being sober. The porn addict knows the benefits of going on NoFap. Sometimes you need to use a different form of energy when the positive one doesn't seem to work or doesn't seem to move you into action in order to get you to do something different in your life. If not, you'll be one of many who had dreams of what their life could have been, but died never really making them a reality. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that sounds scary even talking about it right now. I started working out when I was in elementary school, and during that time I would do simple exercises like ab workouts, and I was starting to learn my first push-ups, because I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, I was weak during this time. Like, I couldn't even do a single regular push-up. I would do the easier versions, which was basically to get on my knees, pause, and I would use my knees as support to do the push-up. And then when I started to slowly gain strength, I ended up doing my first ever push-up later on. For me back then, that was a big win. I still remember the time when I was in elementary school, and I still remember this to this day, when I was in the auditorium and I had noticed my first ever vein like pop out from my hand, and I was like, bro, that is so cool. Now, rarely does a kid in elementary school ever think about working out. Usually during that time you don't want to do anything hard or strenuous. At that time you just want to play video games, eat junk food, go to the park and have fun. But now looking back, I know why I started to work out, and I didn't really expect this to be one of the reasons why. Now, during elementary school, I was the sort of kid who was skinny fat. Like, I had skinny arms, I had skinny legs, but I had a bit of body fat. And what made it worse is that since I had a skinny frame, my head would stick out, so it made it seem like I had a huge head. During school, there would be some times where I would be made fun of because I had a big head. And I remember there was one time, this one girl called out my big ass head, and she said that I was ugly. Now, during this time, obviously as a little kid, when a girl calls you ugly and you're like a kid and you're growing up and you're starting to like girls, you take that to heart. Like, that breaks your heart. There will be some times, no joke, where I would be called bobblehead because of how skinny I was and how it would make my head stick out. And I remember there was this one time as well when I had started wearing glasses during this time. I had to wear it in class because if I wanted to read or do something when it comes to work, I needed to use my glasses. If not, I would get like headaches. And I remember I put my glasses on and I would like get laughed at sometimes, not by like the whole class, but like by certain kids, because I looked even funnier with glasses on. Looking back at it now, there is no coincidence why I started working out in elementary school. Those occasions where I received name callings and I was being teased for having a big ass head, it gave me energy to gain a bit of muscle and to avoid looking extremely skinny. And ever since then, I have continued to work out. Like, I've had periods where I was inconsistent, but there's never been 1 year, ever since then, there's never been 1 year where I didn't work out. Now, you're probably wondering, do I still work out because I was made fun of by that girl in elementary school, or because I was teased here and there, being called names? No. I've transcended that already. But that was one of the reasons why I would come home from elementary school and I would do 10 minutes of abs, and I would learn how to do my first push-up from doing it on my knees, pause, and then going on to doing a regular form push-up. And it has led me up to now being an adult, still carrying this habit of working out. It basically added fuel to get me started during that time. I've mentioned in previous videos that the vast majority of people do not change until they hit rock bottom. Rock bottom is a negative experience that carries negative feelings. Those who make it out of rock bottom and reach heights that they never really thought was possible, or those who use those feelings to their advantage to propel them to go up, to get out of the rut. Think of it like a springboard where you jump on it and it just tosses you high. Most people let their past negative experiences or even their current present negative experiences stop them from doing anything. They were made fun of in the past and now they don't think they can do anything great. They are not the best version of themselves right now and they don't think that it's possible to change. What you need to do is not run away from it, but instead embrace it. Use it as fuel to propel you forward. I've read a lot of books and I've listened to a lot of podcasts of successful people, and I would say that about 90% of them do this exact thing. Most people think that all negative emotions are bad, like anger, frustration, sadness, disgust, but this fuel can be extremely effective if you know how to use it the right way. It will give you the fuel to finally change your daily choices, which will give you a better outcome. It will make you become more disciplined. With this discipline, you could transform your desired intentions into reality. Most people can't transform their desired intentions into reality because they are a slave to distractions and to instant gratification. In other words, they are in love with comfort, but with discipline, you are focused and eliminate the distractions that are in the way. Using the negative to your advantage will give you the fuel to finally get the six-pack that you want, to finally make the money that you want to make, to finally have the relationships that you want to have in your life, the meaningful ones, to finally live the life that you so desperately want to live. Some people will argue that you shouldn't be motivated by the wrong reasons, but this won't be the entirety of the reason why you become disciplined. This is just gonna help you get started because you already tried using the positive to get you started and it hasn't worked. You're still poor and addicted, you're out of shape, you're lonely, and you're lazy. Why not use the negative energy to your advantage to get you started? Because I'm telling you, with enough of it, it's gonna get you to do something different. And here's how you can start doing that. In his book, Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins explained his messed up upbringing and how, as an adult, he was living a mediocre, miserable life. He was basically in love with comfort. And then he got to a point where he wanted to change, and he used what he called an accountability mirror. In this accountability mirror, he would write down his goals on a sticky notes and he would stick them on the mirror, and he would basically expose himself during this time. He would tell himself truths. Brutal, honest truths. For instance, during this time, he was fat. And instead of going to the accountability mirror and telling himself, "You're fine the way you are, David. Don't do anything. You're perfectly fine," like most people do nowadays to try to delude themselves, he instead told himself this: "You're a fat, lazy fuck, David. What are you gonna do about it?" By exposing himself to the truth, it built up a lot of anger and disgust within him that charged him with enough energy to do something different in his daily life. Now, let me just say that disgust can be a very powerful emotion that can have a very powerful effect if you know how to use it. Sometimes when we try everything and we still can't find the discipline to do something different, we just have to be truly disgusted, not more so of ourselves, but more so of our lack of commitment that led us to being in this position where we despise our daily life. Because if you're not truly disgusted and angry at that, then you'll continue living in comfort. Go to your mirror and have a good look at yourself and ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this the person that you desire to be? Are you proud of who you are looking at in front of you? Is this life your desired life? I want you to not only answer these questions in front of the mirror, but also in a journal, because right after you're done answering these questions as brutally honest as you can, I want you to write down what you could start doing differently so that those answers could sound a lot more differently. So if you answered to all 3 of those questions no, what can you do now moving forward that will change those answers from no to yes? If you look at yourself and you are fat and out of shape, you can write, "No, I don't look like the person I desire to be. I am out of shape. My nipples are facing down instead of facing straight like a guy with pecs would. I have low confidence and low self-esteem and wish my life were better." And then you can write down in the journal, "I'm going to start working out 3 times a week. I will start with a light cardio like walking. I will begin lifting weights. I will start cutting down on junk food and start eating more clean. This week, I will not eat fast food. I will throw away all the junk food in my kitchen. Instead of eating, this is where you put your usual junk food, I will start eating, this is where you put your healthy meal that you're going to start eating. Instead of laying down playing video games, I will go to the gym." Whenever you catch yourself slipping, in other words, whenever you catch yourself being lazy and wanting to choose comfort instead of doing what you know is right, go back to this exercise and go back to your journal and look at the answers that you wrote down. You need to expose yourself to yourself. I'm not saying you need to go out there and expose yourself to everybody, but you need to expose yourself to the brutal truth to your own self. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to live in comfort and avoid any sort of discipline. Patrick Bet-David is a very well-known entrepreneur. I'm pretty sure if you're someone who is in the entrepreneur space, you know exactly who he is. And there was this one point in his life, he told about this story many times before, that changed the whole trajectory of his life. He was a typical young guy, chasing women and going to clubs, having the time of his life. But one day, his dad had a heart attack. He went to the hospital, and while being there, he was so pissed because the nurses were not attending his dad as urgently as he would have liked. And he was so angry that he would go back and forth with the staff, and he felt like they were kind of disrespecting his dad. And when he was going back and forth with the staff in the hospital, he eventually got kicked out. The lady at the hospital then told him one thing that would change the rest of his life. "What makes you so entitled to think we have to take care of your dad quickly? You know who pays for your dad's healthcare? The government does, not you." That right there broke him. He was in his car right after that, crying like he had never cried before, and he was telling himself, "Your dad is going to die because you want to be lazy and chase girls, partying 6 days a week, and for the rest of your life, you will know that your dad died because his only son was stupid. After that happened, the rest of his life would never be the same, because instead of chasing girls like he was, and instead of going to the clubs every day, he instead was working like crazy. And then fast forward to the future, he eventually did end up retiring his dad, and he didn't have to worry about the government having to take care of him, because now he was going to take care of his dad. Sometimes we need to be told the harsh, brutal truths in order to snap out of it. When you struggle to get what's required done, sometimes you need to use that dark energy to get off your ass and do something. The negative most times can push us harder than the positive, and if you're smart, you can use the negative as fuel. A girl rejected or left you. A girl told you that you were fat and ugly. Someone told you that you would never amount to anything. Sit down, whip out your journal, and write down all the negative things that has been said to you or that has happened to you. Instead of letting it keep you down, let it fuel you. Use the words and the experiences as wood that keeps that fire lit within you. But one important thing I want to point out, you eventually need to overcome this stage, because you can easily be trapped and be motivated by the wrong things for a long time. You need to transcend it, like the guy who started going to the gym because he was made fun of, but stayed going to the gym because he wanted the longevity and he wanted the healthy chemicals that his brain would get from working out, the happy chemicals like endorphins, dopamine, serotonin. You go to the gym for the girl, you stay in the gym for the health. You go to the gym because of bullying, you stay in the gym because you want the releases of healthy, happy chemicals in the brain. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you transcend that reason in the beginning. You don't want to be the guy who has been going to the gym for over 10 years and is still going because that girl told him that he was ugly. You should transcend that reason at some point. This strategy to become disciplined comes in handy when you already know the benefits of changing your life, but you still haven't done anything. You need something else to get you to act, and this strategy is gonna get you to act, I'm telling you. Remember, unless we're given compelling reasons to do otherwise, we're gonna always choose the path of least resistance. We need a compelling reason to choose the path of most resistance that will give us the rewards that we want. I mean, how much longer can you wait? When will you decide to do something different that will give you better results? Because the more you delay, the further away you are from your dreams, or in other words, the further away you are from actualizing your goals. But if you use this strategy to become disciplined, you'll change your entire story moving forward. Don't let your future self look back with regret. Become disciplined right now, and in the future, you'll be thanking yourself. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'm out.